to me, there's only really at this point 2 orbitals that are kind of not worth it. Well, technically 3, I guess, but it's not to as much of an extent. So the only orbitals I don't think are worth it at the moment are Rail Cannon Strike. Cool, but that cooldown is just abysmal. 2.5 minutes. What is it? Sorry, 3.5 minutes. Absolutely not. It is good. It is kind of worth it, but I think if you get rid of the uses, don't limit it to 3. This would actually be pretty good then. Because what usually happens is you're like, oh man, do I use this? Don't I use this? And then you do use it and it locks onto a Bile Titan, kills that one thing, and then you don't get to use it again. It suffers from the same thing as the Rail Cannon Strike. If there is no Bile Titan around, this thing is really freaking good. If there's no big targets or chargers, but at high difficulty, there's always a big target that this thing locks onto, and then it spends its entire activation time killing that one thing, and it's just like, oh well, I wanted it to deal with the horde, not with the big target. This doesn't make any sense at the moment. Like, it's good, but it shouldn't be 240 because this is 240. This at 240 makes sense. This is like perfect because it's really freaking strong. But this isn't quite as good and it's not as practical because you don't really, there's no instance in the game where you need something that just lines up like that and hits enemies, because the enemies don't spawn even as far back as this thing goes. Whereas this will kill everything in a dropship or a base or even a bug breach or a base. It will wipe the whole thing. Not that I use it on bugs. This makes no sense being 240 because it is just a worse version of this. You could argue, well, this covers a smaller area, so it's more direct. Yeah, that's true, but it does less damage. Like, a lot less. I don't know. If you want to keep it at 240, maybe make it last twice as long. That could work. There's ways to buff this that don't require you to reduce the cooldown time. But I feel like this should be, like, below 180. 3 minutes at the most. I think 3. If you put this at 3 minutes, maybe it sees some use. Because then this is 4 minutes, right? So you can use, like, yeah, that starts to make sense then. This is more or less perfect. I think the cooldown time's good. I actually think you could make it so that it fires one more airburst. Like, it should, like, if it did one more. So you know how it does 1, 2, 3? The issue that I usually find is it does the 1. The second one kills nothing because the first one killed everything. The third one kills the start of, like, another bug breach, and then it finishes. And if you had 4, it could, like, attack and hit the second bug breach. Or you just put a bigger delay time between each shot. So the first shot comes, a little bit of a delay, second shot, a little bit more of a delay, then the third shot. At that point, this thing would be really freaking good. But at the moment, the issue with it is there's just not enough space between each shot. Gatling Barrage is just perfect at the moment. It's great. It's good to use. It's the same as the Gas Strike. The Gas Strike and the Gatling are, like, perfect. They don't do crazy amounts, but for the cost, they're really nice. And you can use it, you know, basically once every minute. You know, almost once every minute. Which is cool. It means each engagement you have something that can whittle down the enemies a little bit. It doesn't kill Bile Titans, it's not going to kill chargers, but it will do a bit of damage to them so that your flamethrowers or rocket launchers can mop them up. Or your 110 rocket pods, for example. I don't really need to talk about the airstrikes. Most of these are really freaking good. I do feel like the cluster, they've nerfed it a bit too much. It doesn't do what it's showing that it does in some of these images. Like, it won't kill the Bile Spewers anymore. It used to, but it doesn't anymore. You'd have to use, like, 2 of them to kill Bile Spewers. I think if they made this thing one-shot Bile Spewers again, I think it'd be pretty good. I'd go back to considering it. But at the moment, I think the Napalm, the Airstrike, even to an extent the Strafing Run at the moment are a little bit better. It's still okay, because you get 5 uses, but I'd rather have this, or I'd rather have this. Or I'd rather have this or this, personally. 500 is, again, it not as advertised. I think if it just had like as big of an AoE as the explosion suggests, and was pretty much like, okay, if you land this underneath a Bile Titan, it's gonna die, even from full health. It would be awesome. But more often than not, I find myself using 2 of these to take out a single Bile Titan. Which is just like, again, then you've got the rail cannon effect, you know? It's like, okay, I get to use this once every 2.5 minutes. No, it's longer than... Is it 2.5 minutes? Is that how long the Eagle takes to recharge? Assuming it's the only airstrike you've got, it's 2.5 minutes to kill one thing. Maybe do a bit of collateral damage as well, which is why it's better than the rail cannon. That and you get 2 goes. If the rail cannon doesn't one-shot the target that it locks onto, you don't get another go. You gotta wait 3.5 minutes. Precision strike, it's perfect. 90 seconds. Kills whatever you're shooting at. Basically, it will one-shot Bile Titans, it will one-shot charges with a direct hit, which is fantastic. It closes bug holes, and it does collateral damage, so it will kill the target and everything else surrounding it. If you drop that on a stacked bug hole, you're going to get like 20, 30 kills. Same with the gas strikes, perfect. Obviously, it doesn't deal with Bile Titans or charges, but it will kill everything else, which is great. EMS, I don't know why this is the same as gas strike. For me, this should be 30 seconds. I'm not even trolling. It should be like 30, 40 seconds. Because I just bring the EMS mortar. It does the same thing, but it's sustained and it can keep hitting things. Smoke strike. I'd never bring it. Not 100 seconds. It just... Yeah. No. It did have its uses for a time on certain missions. But I think smoke needs to be rethought. They need to do something with smoke. I don't know what exactly, but needs a bit of a rework. Because at the moment, I just... Yeah, I don't know. It's really expensive for to take a stratagem slot to do... I guess it's good for if you need to run away, but I'll just run away and tank it, man, and use a heal instead. Heavy machine gun's good. Again, it suffers from the same thing that a lot of turrets suffer from, though. It's the 3-minute cooldown. I just can't use it frequently enough for me to consider bringing it. It's really good, and if, you know, you use it on a bug breach, it's awesome. And then the next bug breach, you don't have it. And you might have it on the next bug breach if you're not triggering them, but you won't have it for a next engagement. Let's have this like once every 2 minutes instead. That could be kind of cool. I think 3 minutes is just too long. Because again, this thing gets destroyed. Bugs are going to flank you. Bugs are going to... Like, in an ideal world, yeah, they're all in front of you and you can just line them up and shoot them, but that doesn't really happen. Shield gen, you guys already know how I feel about this. I think this thing should just be a fixed time, and it lasts, and it has infinite shield. Maybe it lasts for like 60 seconds, and it will just stay there. Unless an enemy comes in and destroys it, they shouldn't be able to take it out. Because the issue with this thing at the moment is, especially on the automatons, you use it, and within 5 seconds, it's gone down. It's already gone, and then they shoot it and destroy it. That's it. Like, and for those 5 seconds, it's great. It's if you need to activate an objective, it's pretty cool. But like, it's so niche. It's too niche. Just make it so that it has an infinite amount of health unless they destroy the thing. So maybe some AI will push. If you put it down, they won't stay there and shoot. They'll push to try and destroy it on the inside, at which point that would be really cool. And then, of course, that means you have to prioritize dealing with, like, chainsaw dudes, flamer hulks, chargers. On the bugs, obviously, is completely useless. So it should be really freaking good for what it is. The cooldown's actually fine on it. It's just, it needs to be a bit better. Tesla Tower. This will be good once they fix lightning arcs. Because at the moment, a lot of the time, things get up close and it just... Sometimes it just doesn't even hit them. It doesn't do anything. It's weird. It's inconsistent. Again, it's just lightning damage. It's inconsistent. This, again, it suffers from the 180 cooldown bug. Like, not bug, issue. It's like, too long for too little. And it's a defensive item, so it's like, okay. Fine on defensive missions, I guess, but there's only one of those really in the game where you'd consider using this, and even then, there's better options. I'll just bring a mortar instead. I already made a suggestion on how you make this better. Make it so that it folds up, goes back down, and then after a period of like 40 seconds, it comes back up and does more mines. So it gets like, it refreshes the minefield. Because if a corpse goes in and blows up, it triggers all the other mines. That's one of the big problems with it at the moment. So like, you'll kill one enemy, and that enemy will then take out like 10 mines as it ragdolls over the entire thing. Supply pack, it's fine, it's perfect. Grenade launcher is very good, but because it can't do anything to charges still, it's a bit lacking. And given that the charges are so heavy at the moment, you'd never bring this over a flamethrower or an anti-tank. And you've got primaries like the crossbow and secondary like the grenade pistol that close bug holes. And it's good at AoE, but then so is the flamethrower and so is the arc thrower. One of which has infinite ammo. This thing just doesn't have enough ammo. I have to run it with the supply pack, which sucks. Because it's not that much better. Like, it's not better than the flamethrower, even if I run it with the supply pack. Because the reload's longer. You have to stop to... yeah, it's just... Give it a longer chain of grenades and buff the ammo, and I think you've got something good. Obviously, let it damage charges. You know, maybe you have to empty a whole mag of grenades, but let it damage charges. Laser cannon, it's fine. Incendiary mines, same thing as the anti-personnel mines, but they're better. They are better. It's just... Again, a body will ragdoll and just destroy a bunch of them. So it'd be nice to have something that replenishes them. Maybe it gets to use it twice if you want to keep it at 180 cooldown. Otherwise, make it a 100-second cooldown. If you make it a 100-second cooldown, okay, now I can use it on most bug breaches. So it actually becomes kind of cool. But at the moment, again, it's like, dude, 3 minutes? On Helldive, dude, that's 1 every 2, every 3 bug breaches. It's not good enough. Guard Dog Rover, I hate this thing. Just because it kills my teammates, or it kills me. Make it fly higher, make it stay higher, don't let it come at head level, and we can be friends. But at the moment, it's not, it doesn't fly high enough most of the time. It does too much damage to me, and not enough damage to the enemies. What you're seeing it do on screen here now, it doesn't do that anymore. It takes forever to kill things. When we get a good SMG, this will be good. It was okay when we had the stun SMG, but yeah. Arc thrower, I really like this thing, but it's way too inconsistent. And it's at close range, it literally doesn't even work. When something gets a little bit too close, it just bugs out and does nothing. Which is a big, big problem. Quasar, I think it's perfect at the moment, especially if you use it on cold planets. Shield generator, perfect. Machine gun sentry. Give it a bit more ammo. I like the cooldown. I like the fact that they made it 120. You either reduce the cooldown to 100, so that this... My idea is this should be the precision strike of turrets. You can use it on every single encounter to surplus your damage. Or you give it more ammo. Because 2 minutes for it, it's not worth it. It's not. Still not worth it at 2 minutes. Doesn't have enough ammo. Gatling Sentry is pretty good. I still feel like it's overkill at 180 seconds though, because the mortar's 180. And in a turret usage scenario, I think honestly the mortar is usually better. This should maybe be... Don't know. This could be 2 minutes, honestly. If this was 120 and this was like 90, then we're starting to get somewhere. Maybe 140 actually. Yeah, 140. Make this 90. This should be, like I said, the precision striker turrets. It should be something that every time a bug breach happens, or even the gas strike of turrets, 70 freaking seconds. Every time there's a breach, I should be able to throw one of these down. It's super basic. Like, why would I ever run... Like, you might as well run the rover, because the rover sticks with you and it does more, kind of. So, yeah, this needs to be less of a cooldown. Even still, they took it in the right direction. It just needs to be a bit better. Autocannon is more or less perfect, I'd say. I still wouldn't say it's kind of on par with the mortar sentry in some ways. I still feel like there's room for improvement. The issue at the moment is there's so many Charger Behemoths. It doesn't kill the Charger Behemoth before the Charger Behemoth comes up and destroys it. So maybe give it more pierce damage. Because the Rocket Sentry is just the GOAT at the moment. Again, this is fine, I think, at 180. It's, yeah. But the autocannon, maybe to differentiate them, give it like a slightly less cooldown. I think the mortar is like the strongest and probably the best thing. I know it can kill your teammates, but it's really freaking good. And I think having that at 3 minutes makes sense. I feel like everything that's weaker than this shouldn't be at 180. You could just give this thing more ammo as well. Like, you don't even need to make it stronger. Give it more ammo, and then I'll be really careful where I place it. If they allow us to put things back up on rocks, that would also be fine. EMS Mortar Sentry, I think, is perfect. Again, same as the Mortar Sentry. It does its role brilliantly. And then the exosuits, I don't know. Again, once every 10 minutes. And you get 2. You know how I feel. More ammo and tankier. More ammo, tankier, and you've got yourself something really good. But I can use a lot of other amazing stratagems in a 10-minute period that do a lot more. To put it in perspective, you can get, what is it, 7 precision strikes? What would you rather have, 7 precision strikes or an exosuit? And then bear in mind, you get 14 in the 2 usages of precision strike. And then beyond that, you can keep using them. So let's say the mission goes on for the full 40 minutes. Well, now you've got 28 precision strikes for 2 mechs. I would rather have 28 precision strikes every day of the week. It's going to do more than having the mech. The mech needs to be like, okay, if I'm getting 2 of these, it's got to be on par with 28 precision strikes, right? That's the way I think of it in my mind. So I've got to be able to do, like, maybe not exactly that much, because if you're speedrunning an objective, this thing's going to clear it faster than the precision strike, because obviously you have to wait 90 seconds in between each one. But these things should be the strongest stratagems in the entire game. They should feel like they are. Which, to me, they just don't, for the most part, because they're great when all goes well, and everything's fine and dandy. But if things start getting a little bit overwhelming, these things just... yeah, you need to really have, like, your team covering your ass with these things. And sometimes your team will accidentally kill you. I'm surprised how smart you are regarding game balance. Me? I'm a games designer. It was by design.